Yes, we're all set. So let's start. Okay, so I'll just mute everyone. Okay, good. So what I wanted to cover today was, yesterday I should have covered on the more about the papañca saṅkhā. So we covered a little bit, but it's good to cover the complete part and then look at how the dependent origination or the Paticcasamutpada works on that. And the last thing what Buddha talks about, where he says that if there is something that is arising, and something should always end there, meaning it always departs. So if we give something, and that something should end. So that is the starting of the Paticcasamutpada. So before we get into these two things, I had an experience 3 days ago on, or rather 2 days ago, I think so, on how we can understand this. So there are 5 ways is what I found. You can all try. So the first question, it's all questions, just like the sucker's question. So I have my question to myself. So the first question, okay, did the name come first or the body came first? Again, repeat, did the name come first or the body came first? As a baby coming outside, it's the body which is coming out, not the name. Okay, that's the answer. So if you really see our birth, if you see our children's birth, or if you see anybody's birth, the child which is entered into the womb, you have no idea what it is. When it comes out, it doesn't have a name. So the body comes first and then the name. Do you have any doubt in that? Or you want to question me? No, that's not how it is. Anyone? Otherwise, it's the body. So the mother does not see the baby or the person. The mother sees the body. And she thinks it's her baby, right? Okay. Then the second one, if there is this body, can you name the body in the way you want? Yes. So we all have been named accordingly by our parents, and we have named our children. So any object which is made out of 4 elements can be named. Okay, so we name everything basically. Now if something is named, am I growing with that, or the body is growing? Let's say my parents named me Vilas, and then it so happened that the body started to grow. So now when the body is growing, am I growing along with the body? The answer is no. I have never grown at all. It's the body which is growing. Right? I have any questions here? You just have to see whether you're growing or your body is growing. So when I say I'm 50-year-old, what's that I'm referring to? Am I referring to the body which is looking 50-year-old, or am I referring to myself which is 50-year-old? So it's the body which is 50-year-old or as many number of that ages, right? So this is the third one. That is, I am not growing, but the body is growing. And the body is growing due to food. not because I want it to grow. So I'm not asking it to grow, I'm not asking it to decay, I'm not asking it to become something, right? It's becoming, the body is going through whatever it should go through. Okay, so now the body is named and the body is growing. Can I set relationships the way I want to set with it? Yes. So what kind of relationships I can set? Looking at the body, I can call that body as a son, because somebody is called as a mother. And the same body, there's no person standing there, a same body, another person calls it as wife or husband. Another person calls the same body, there's no difference, right? There's absolutely no difference, as father. And the same body, there's no difference, absolute no difference, as a friend. A same body, again, called as an American or an Indian or a Chinese or a Swiss person or a Russian or whatever. So same body. And the same body is then called as a neighbor. A same body is again called as a colleague in an organization. And the same body is called as brother or sister. And again the same body is called as a citizen of a country. And the same body, so you can really keep on adding these designations, sign titles endlessly. Now what's happening on the Vijnana consciousness? It's plays that role, meaning that body, when it is standing in front of the mother, the consciousness makes that mind experience the son. So that person feels that I'm the son, and that mother feels, oh, this body is my son. Even though the body is growing, it never stayed even a day same. But the mother feels it's my son. And like that. Okay. So now if we set with the relationship on this foundation of the body, what should we expect? That as the body grows and decays, it has to die. And along with the body comes the five senses, which will sense the sensory inputs which is coming. And along with that comes the instrument of the mind, which adds everything up and experiences. So, if I treat, meaning I as the consciousness, were to treat this body as my body and this mind as mind, then the dukkha starts from then. But again, the consciousness is not a permanent thing. It arises due to condition. So based upon the condition of the eyes with the sight comes the consciousness which connects both of them. And then there is an experience of pleasurable or painful in all the five senses, exactly the same way. Now we come to this first thing. Who comes first? The name or the body? And if we say name, that's not true. If we say it's the body, that's the truth. We can see the body's coming. Now, based upon the body, what happens? So let's run this Paticcasamutpada, which is the dependent origination here. Chakkuncha paticca rupe upajjati chakku vinyanam. That is, chakku is the eye. Chakkuncha paticca, along with the eye. Rupa, the form. Paticca, pati means to bond. Icha means the person is feeling that there's something, that something is there as a sense object. Upajjati chakku vinyanam. It creates the conscious experience of an object being there. Tinna sangati passo, that is one, the chakku, eye, the sight, and consciousness. All these three is the passo, contact. When there is a contact, the mother holding the baby in her hand, and she's seeing it for the very first time, there's a contact of the body. There's no baby there. Don't forget. At present, there's no baby there. But the sight has come in her hand. And since that being has come through her body, which she's seeing that is coming from her body only anyway, she then has a feeling that this is my baby. Right? So when she conceived, she doesn't know who got conceived, meaning who entered. Nobody knows. She is happy that, wow, I got conceived and I'll be a mother. Right? And she takes care, not knowing who the person is inside. And then it is coming out. So when she holds it, the feeling comes. Sukha, that is pleasurable, because the baby is alive, but the anxiety is there, and the doctor says that the baby is good, healthy. Madam, you have got a very healthy baby. And they weigh it, it's 3.2 pounds. Good one. So celebration. There's a relief from suffering at that point. So Vedana. Now when there is this feeling, there is a perception. What perception? Perception of my baby. It's mine. Because obviously it has come from my body. So it's mine. Now till here is one story. So we'll call that as A. Okay, it's one story. Now what happens? That perception doesn't end there. Then the person starts to think. Vitakka, what we looked into yesterday. So there is extensive thinking. Now comes what one thinks, makes it a papañca. Yam papancheti. Now what is this papañca? Pancha is 5. Papañca means bringing 5 things together and making it as one. So there are 2 ways to look at it. The one way to look at it is bring all the 5 senses together to sense something. But the deeper one here is bring the 5 aggregates together and feel it. So you get the rupa, you have the vedana, you have saññā, saṅkhāra, viññāna, all the 5. Bringing it together gets you the feeling of something. So when somebody is in that, he's made or she's made it up, fabricated it up, and now the baby is in her hand and she's lost in that, and then the papañca, saññā, saṅkhā will happen. So papañca is this 5 aggregates just come together. Fisting happens first, that is, I don't want to let it go, it's mine. Saññā is the perception, this is my thing, I cannot give it to anyone. So no mother would love to give this baby to someone. Someone come and ask, hey, you know what, you have 2 children, why don't you give me one? She says, no, it's my child, I cannot give it to you. That's so very close to the mother, it's not possible. So she makes it like a fist, holding it tight. And she's anxious about the baby movement. She's anxious about every damn thing happening to that baby. But the body is growing with food, but she doesn't know. She thinks the baby is growing. So now the story starts. Papañca, saññā, saṅkhā, estimation, starts from there. So she estimates and re-estimates and estimates and re-estimates, and throughout life the child starts to grow, and then we say, wow, he's come to this height, I will do this, I will do that. So it keeps on adding it up to that person to an extent that, and when the child is an adolescent and doesn't listen to its mother, the mother becomes upset. The same child, which she held it in the fist, and she doesn't like many things, she likes many things. A story keeps on happening. So all the 6 senses together have the same function. When this connection happens, the grasping happens. And when grasping happens, the person creates an individual there, a real thing there. So 5 steps, if we were to again revisit to that. First, the name did not come first, the body came. Then the body is named something. But the body is growing out of food, not because of the name. And the third one is that when this body is growing, you can be named something for the same body. Every day the body is changing, but as it is growing, so the relationships will start. So when anything is in relationship, it can break the relationships. So the 5th step is not to proliferate, not to create story. By chance, if we are able to cut the story, you get into Nibbana. Because all along it was fabricated only, it was not real. How? So let's solve this problem. So my name is Vilas. So the Nitya Saññā, that is, I feel I am existing because the name is not changing. The passport, same name. All my certificates, same name. Schooling, same name. The people who are calling me, same name. So what I have got in my mind right now is Vilas is eternal. And same with all of us, all of you. That's a Nitya Saññā. It is not Anitya Saññā. The reason being it's not Anitya Saññā is because this name is fixed. It doesn't change. So the papañca, saññā, saṅkhā can happen easily now because the name is fixed. So I treat this hand as my hand. I treat this head as my head, this ear as my ear, my nose, my tongue, my this, my that, because it's fixed. Even though body is changing, even though none of the roles I mentioned earlier on is not there. The body is there. People are seeing the body. But here's a friend. You'll see the body. Another person comes and says, "Hey dad, how are you?" Where the friend went, nobody knows. But I react to that person saying that, "Hey son." And then, where's the husband? Another person comes and says that, "You are my husband." And I say, "Yes, I am your husband and you are my wife." At the same time. Remember, same time. And then a neighbor comes. And then I will say, "Hey, how are you doing, my dear neighbor?" So that guy becomes a neighbor, I become a neighbor. And then if I'm staying outside the country, I'm called as an Indian staying in this country. If I'm staying in India, I'm an Indian. Where is Indian? Where it is written? Not there. Then the religion, then the tradition, then this, then that. So how many labels you associate, or we all associate? So many labels. All of these labels are fabricated. None of them truly exist. So depending upon the rupa, you have feeling. Depending upon the feeling, you have perception. Depending upon the perception, you create saṅkhāras out of the five senses. Then because you create five senses saṅkhāra, there is this vijnāna which adds it up like a magician. So comes the father, comes the son, comes the husband, comes the neighbor, comes the countryman, comes a citizen, comes a friend, comes an enemy, comes this, comes that, or keep on adding as many as you want. And all of them can create story. And then we start narrating story. When I was a child, I used to be like this, and then when I went there, I did that, and then I'm going to do this. So this whole story making will start, and estimation and re-estimation starts. So this is what is papañca, saññā, saṅkhā is all about. That how we create. So first, the body came first, then the names. So you name it, and then the body grows, the name stays. Then because the name stays, you put the relationships. When there are relationships, it can be broken. Husband is there, wife is there, they divorce. Because the body is going apart, but there was no person there in the first place. So I can, when I'm married, I can say, he is your husband, he is a wife. It doesn't get imprinted on their body. So when the person goes away, divorced or dead or whatever it is, he is a divorcee now, or he is a widow, or she is a widow. So all these combinations will work. And this is called as nama and rupa. So you create a nama, which is identifying something, and you create the rupa, which just this body named in different ways, identified in different ways, and said to be true. That's the avidya. So when we have avidya, everything, PS cycle will continue. So in the end of that DN 21 Sutta, Buddha says one thing, the Indra or Saṅkhā, he experiences something very peculiar to Buddha Dhamma, which is what the starting point of Paticcasamutpada is all about. So it goes like, If there is something called samudaya, then there should be something called nirodha. It can't be only samudaya and without nirodha. So, yam kinchi samudaya dhamma tam sabbham nirodha dhamma. If there is anything called as arising of anything, then all those dhamma where it is arisen will have nirodha, cessation. So if vilas is there as an arising, vilas will have a cessation. If there was a husband which is arising, then the husband will have cessation. If a brother was arising, the brother will have cessation. If the daughter was arising, then daughter will have a cessation. Like that, everything, all relationships. So how do I attain Nibbana then? Very simple. Sabba saṅkhāra samatho. That is, make all the saṅkhāras, kaya, vaci and mano saṅkhāra. Saṅkhāra means the volitional or willful actions which I want to do through my eyes and ears and nose and tongue and all that. Take it at zero value. No, don't attach any value to it. Don't add a value to your eye and ear and nose. Bring it a zero value. When I say zero value, see it as it is. What you're seeing is just a body. Nobody out there. No person is there inside. There was no husband inside that person. How much ever you shake that person, the husband will not come out. How much ever you shake, the son will not come out. How much you shake that lady, a wife will not come out. What you see is a being. That is true. But you will never get the husband and the wife and son and daughter and all of that. Those combinations, things, you'll never get it. But there is samudaya. If there is samudaya, then there is nirodha dhamma. So the coming out of Paticcasamutpada cycle is to stop doing this and watch the bhuta, yatha bhuta jnana. What are you seeing? You are seeing the body which started from the womb. Where is that body? Gone. Okay, you were in school? Yes. Where is that body? Gone. Okay, good. Now where is the adult body? You have it? No, gone. Okay, I have a middle age. Okay, do you have that body? No, gone. Oh, where is old age body? Oh, that's gone. That name, even though it looks fixed, will go like this. Nirodha. Day by day. So when a day is gone, the body is gone, the mental frames are gone, but because consciousness is there, vijnana, it can pick it up and get the movement, even though it's a dead frame. That's what vijnana can do. Beautifully, it can place back the memories. It's a fixed, or what we can say, it's a frame by frame by frame by frame. It adds up the frame and the movement is created. And then I becomes. I starts, not the I of this I, talking about I am, starts. So I do three things. One, I consider eso mama, this is mine. Eso mama asmi, this belongs to me. Eso me atta, this is myself. And that is required to get into this papañca saññā saṅkhā, the story making. And once I understand these 5 aggregates are the one I'm grasping like in a fist, papañca, and I shake it up, it opens. Once it opens, it drops the mind from its holding, tenacious grasping. It removes that. So when it removes, anatta is experienced, because all these 5 are separate. Rupa, Vedana, Saññā, Saṅkhāra, Viññāna, all are separate. And you can see the eye and the sight, ear and the sound, tongue and the taste, they come together when there is an object. Otherwise they are not. They're separate. And hence Nibbana can be experienced, because there is no bonding. It's not bound. It's open. So who is the person here? No one. Just for convention, we have to name something. So it's named. Cannot be taken seriously that this is me. Because I can see the body came first, then the name. Every baby was named after it came out, after few days, not even immediately, after few days. And then the different names are given even before. So to talk to the child, small baby, infant, they keep on talking in different ways. So by the time the child comes to know that this is my name, it's a 4-year-old or a 3-year-old, because it cannot even speak. It just responds to the stimulus of the sound, not that it knows this is my name. And in fact, an infant of 6 months doesn't even recognize these are my parents, except the mother, because she is giving that baby the milk. Other than that, it has no idea. So that means the body is coming out of food. The name is the one which sticks. And if you were to delete all the fabrications, you're released. And that's what happened to the sucker. That when Buddha says that yam samudaya dhammam, yam kinchi samudaya dhammam, wherever there is a little bit of arising of something, tam sabbam nirodha dhammam, there all the Dhamma, sabba is all, nirodha, cessation. So if you name something, that's going to go away. Whatever you name. So every product dies, becomes an end of life. Why? Because it named, it's gone. It goes through cycle, basically. Nothing can be done. So what's the secret now? Don't create papañca, saññā, saṅkhā. And how do I not create papañca, saññā, saṅkhā? By not thinking. That is debating within oneself. All that about 5 grasping aggregates, upadana khanda. Then if I don't do that, then what happens? Well, if you don't do that, then you will not have chanda, the desire, the fondness to do something. If there is no fondness, then what happens? Then you will not have anything called as piya and apiya, which is liking and disliking. And if you don't have liking and disliking, then what happens? Then the stinginess and the jealousy wouldn't exist. So if these two are not there, you're completely in Nibbana. Because when you see anything, you don't feel excited. When you lose something, you don't feel excited because it's only 4 elements. Even before I came, the 4 elements existed. When I am seeing now, the 4 elements are existing. After I go away, the 4 elements exist. This body will get into the crematorium, comes out as carbon. The bones only remains, the remaining things are gone. That's truth for everyone. And that's where we are all going, no matter what we think for ourselves. So this is how you cut the Paticcasamutpada cycle on understanding the papañca, saññā, saṅkhā. And that's all I had. I wanted to conclude this so that it gives a clear picture, because yesterday we rushed a little bit. So today I thought let me still more talk on this so that's clear on how this works. Any questions, anything you want to discuss? Otherwise, basically we are done, at least for today. All I have understood on this papañca, saññā, saṅkhā and the samudaya and nirodha. And that samudaya nirodha is the starting point of iti imasmim sati idam oti idam imassa uppada idam upajjati iti imasmim asati idam na hoti imassa nirodha idam nirujjati. What it means is that if this is there and that happens, if this is not there, that will not happen. So what is there and what happens? If the consciousness were to enter into the womb, then only the baby can happen. If there is no consciousness in the womb, it's called as miscarriage. Story ends. It drops. That piece of flesh drops from whichever state it is in. So if you were to call a person, only due to consciousness you can say that. Otherwise you cannot. And then the 12th cycle. So all of us are able to see, hear, taste, touch, smell and think is because of consciousness, the magician. But actually if we look at from a pena pindupama sutta, the lump of foam, rupa is one thing, the feeling is another thing, the perception is another thing, the saṅkhāra is another thing, the vijnāna joins everything so nicely and delivers. And it arises and passes away. It doesn't stay. Along with the sense, it arises. As the sense goes away, it passes away. Another sense arises and passes away. And the sense arises, it arises and passes away. And that's all it keeps on doing. Until the life force is there, so the vijnāna is going to be there. The life faculty ends, the vijnāna ends. That's it. So either you have understood it very well or good. So shall we then end for today and meet tomorrow with that? We were doing the Vipassana. We did only for 4. So now we will do the remaining 8 tomorrow. We can do it together and establish. I think Preeti is able to get into Anatta, my meditation, So we'll see whether the same thing can be achieved without meditation, without that closing the eyes and doing it. Should be able to do it without that also. Let's see how that works. And as far as Richard goes, I hope the next set we do, he's able to get the same experience as he got during a TV or watching a TV. Okay, anything you want to add, or you want to say something, or shall we end? Malti, I think if you're speaking, it is on a mute.
Today's lecture, it is very nicely explained from start to last, so it was easy to understand.
Okay, thank you. So that's how we keep on adding things. And another thing is that since we remember, since there's memory, we keep on remembering the person, we keep on remembering the place, we keep on remembering everything. So it looks as though it was there, it is very stable, and it is moving. But in reality, it's all disconnected. There's not even one thing which is connected to another thing. Just like when you go to sleep and then you have dreams, and the dreams are totally disconnected. You have no idea what dream is where. It's the same way. But it is so nicely, everything gets connected. And that is the magician job, consciousness. So Buddha says, I think we had gone through that other sutta, that is Puttamamsa Sutta, where the mother and the father, they eat the child because they have to cross the desert. And in that, if you really see, he says that if somebody were to understand Vijnana completely, I call that person is completely liberated. He doesn't have to do anything. Why? Because the third ahara, a fourth ahara, which is Vijnana ahara, is completely understood. Because that is the one which creates relationships. So if we drop relationships, there is nothing you are holding. What we are holding is relationships. We keep dear to our heart and saying that, oh, I can't. That's the problem. And it ultimately breaks. As a husband, wife, or son, daughter, or whatever, it breaks. That's painful. Dukkha. So all our lives, we try hard to maintain relationships with every object, not only human, every given object, homes, car, to everything, we have that relationships, which never existed. And relationships comes with the 5 aggregates. You just open this up, all the relationships are gone. You're free. And that's Nibbana is, Bana is to be bound. Nibbana is unbound. So not binding. So there's no binding. Why there is no binding? Because there is no craving to bind anything. You require that glue, which is craving. It glues things up. Yeah, Naveen, you had something to say?
Well, kudos to you, the way you explained the entire topic. I'm still trying to come to the terms with the jargons that were used in this, because they are too new for me to understand.
Yeah, so that's the reason I explained back in English.
Yes. So I am slowly and gradually, grasping these jargons and trying to understand what you're trying to explain us. So it is certainly, coming in handy for me.
Yes. So anything what you heard so far, you have any confusion or any jargon which you felt I couldn't really get it?
Kama Chanda.
Very nice one. Kama is senses. It is from two words, ka and ama. Ama is what decays. Ka is bad. So if you really have watched your senses properly, especially what we eat, you can do one test to see what really it is. What you need to do is, this is a practice to make it paticula, that is, you should make it disagreeable. So what you need to do is, have a morsel of food, put it in the mouth, mash it, put back in your hand. Try eating it. It's next to impossible.
It's repulsive at times. It looks repulsive.
It is 100% repulsive. You cannot do it. I'm telling you, even if you were to close your nose and try eating it, it's not possible. But it is not somebody's, it's yours. Just was there a minute ago. And I put it in the mouth. I mash it up. Just take it. Now try eating it. It's impossible, I'm telling you. You will not be able to eat your own food back. And that's the reason it's called kama. Actual sense. But because of delusion, you go behind the same one which is repulsive. Because of chanda, fondness. And same thing with all the remaining four of them. Let's say I would love to listen to a rock music. Why? It's kamachanda. Now I should look it from the food how I'm eating. It becomes repulsive. So you will never enjoy what is coming in your ear. You will never enjoy what is coming in your sight. You will never enjoy what is coming in the nose. You will never enjoy what is in the touch. Once you get that, kamachanda is gone. The moment kamachanda is gone, you are an anagami. Shift in your thinking. It's simple. You will be so repulsive that you only see the skeleton, nothing else, no flesh is seen. And actually we are all skeletons. We look fleshy, but actually we are going to skeleton. Let's look at Malti. 20 years back, she would be full of flesh. And now she is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. It's just somebody is squeezing and the whole material is coming out. Slowly, not really hard, very slowly. Keep on squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. So the body comes shrink and shrink and shrink, and no matter what she's eating, it doesn't matter. She might be eating exactly the same what she was eating 20 years ago. Shrinking. Same thing with all of us. Like we both had hair some years ago, when now we don't have. So squeezed out. Right? So now, when we were child, we had a lot of hairs, and the not child is going to school. I don't think so we have mustache at that point in time or whatever. And I don't think so, Naveen, you would have had so much of flesh when you were in school. Right? So it keeps on changing, and all of that is happening. All of that is happening automatically. It's like a seed, and from there this is all coming into existence because of the vijnana, which is consciousness. There's nothing you or I have added anything to this body as an addition or a deletion till date. We feel hungry, prepare food, eat. Feel sleepy, go to sleep. Get up, mouth smells horrible, take a brush. And that's the only thing you can do. Nothing we can do to remove that smell. And that's a cycle, right? So morning we get up, brushing the teeth, having tea or coffee, then breakfast, then take a bath and breakfast, and then after a few hours again you feel hungry, again you go and eat, and water in between, and then again you feel hungry, again have dinner, and again you again same thing, and decays and decays and decays. So to test that decay, try it with food. You will never be eaten, and that is, once you get that, no kamachanda. If there is no kamachanda, there is no vyapada at all. You will become totally calm with yourself, because you will see eventually that person is a skeleton only. So what will you do with the skeleton? Nothing. Right. So there is no agitation. What will you be agitated with? Nothing. What is there to be agitated? And you are not aspiring to hold it, so you will not even aspire to fight with it. So it's peace. Good question. Any other like that? Okay, then we will meet tomorrow at 8:30 with Vipassana or Vipassana. Okay, Namo Buddhaya then. Yeah, good evening and good night. Bye. Namo Buddhaya.